Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gents. It's been a very long time indeed, about 3 months since I've posted on here. I've been really busy. I attempted my 5th dan in Kendo. For those of you who don't know, I do Kendo. It's a Japanese martial art. It's basically evolved from Kenjutsu, and it's kind of like European fencing, but the Japanese equivalent, right? So it's just Japanese swordsmanship, but like a sort of modernized version. I'll link, I have a second channel actually for that, and I'll link that above if you're interested in that kind of thing. Go check it out. But yeah, otherwise, I had unfortunately the passing of my grandmother, and that coincided with my attempt for 5th dan, which I failed. So yeah, just been training hard and trying to apply the advice I got from that encounter. And obviously we had to bury my grandmother while she's cremated, so lay her to rest, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so hopped online the other day and noticed this kind of Fiasco kickoff about Zakk Wylde. So I thought I would go and check it out and find out what all the fuss is about. And of course, basically there's a few artists now that have been kind of raked over the coals, let's say, for using backing tracks. Now, my stance on this is it's actually pretty simple. I don't really appreciate the use of backing tracks as a general approach. I think if you want to go see a live band, then you want to see them perform, and you want to see as much done live and performed by the people on stage as possible. However, I do have a few caveats to backing tracks in terms of what is the backing track specifically, what purpose does it serve. So for example, a click track. Click track, just having a metronome in your ear, even if it's a cowbell or a hi-hat or whatever it is that the band feel comfortable with using. This is okay for me because lights will often be timed off of that click track. They might have certain breaks in the song for audience interactions or something like that that's actually planned into the set, and pyro and things like that will be linked to it. So I can't really have any kind of prejudice towards that. I prefer bands didn't play to a click for just the pure enjoyment of music, and it'd be nice to know that the band can hold time and all that, but in a lot of cases they can, but it's a question of delivering the spectacle, okay? And so I can give a bit of rope and a bit of leeway on that basis. There'll also be situations, for example, I know, a band like Maiden, for example, they've got some keyboards on a few of their tracks, and obviously there's no keyboard player in the band, so they'll have those backing tracks, just a simple backing track with the keyboard on it for songs where it's required, and everyone else plays their part live as normal. There's probably a click track to keep them in time with the keyboard, or they'll have someone play the keys off stage that you just can't see. Both of those are fine. I think they're perfectly acceptable. You do what you got to do, again, to put on the show, and if you think that it's a part that you really can't live without, then I think that's fine, again. Right, so this is future me just popping on here just to make a quick couple of corrections. I had a choice. I made some errors in the video yesterday. Basically, I had a corrupt file where I talked about Grady Champion and his involvement in the activation of the whammy pedal live from off stage. That file got corrupted basically because I recorded my phone, and the video, it basically had audio, and then the video just kind of stopped, and I had to ditch that and refilm it in a hurry, and I messed a few things up. So my points about backing tracks and their use still stand, okay? The second thing I wanted to add is, in the context of a 4-piece band where you've got, like Pantera, the guitar, bass, vocals, drums. It's not unheard of to, because you've double-tracked guitars in the studio, it's not unheard of course, that you might have a lead or fill or something, and you want it to retain the rhythm guitar crunch right underneath whatever that lead or fill is, or something like that. And maybe you'll have that run on a backing track, right? And I think maybe that's what this guy who's reported this video is getting at, okay? And I didn't really make that clear in the original video. So I went back actually and had another listen to the video, and from what I can tell, Zakk's hands move to all the right positions for the riff, for the rhythm part, and I can hear his rhythm tone. And on second listen, I was really careful listening to the audio this time, based on listening to people's comments and everything that cropped up yesterday. This was a big sticking point for a lot of people that didn't, the video that I made didn't sit well with. And look, I stand corrected. On second listen of the video, when you hear the dun 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 under the wow, there's no guitar chord. There's bass, but there's no guitar chord. It's not the best audio. So maybe when I was listening on my environment yesterday, I didn't really pick it up. But I was listening for it, and I just got the interpretation wrong, I guess. So in the other thing that came up in the comments yesterday is, as I said, Grady Champion Dimebag's guitar tech would trigger his whammy pedal for these sorts of stabs and moments from the side of the stage. Manually trigger the pedal and rock the expression pedal if you needed to, all those sorts of things. I had a really good relationship that way. One thing I didn't know about this reunion tour is that apparently it's Grady who is teching for Zakk. And I guess this is, I presumed they would probably consult with him to get all the tones right and that sort of thing. I didn't realize he was going out, on the tour itself. And that's really cool, actually. It's really cool that he's gone on tour. But yeah, I just presumed they would consult with him or something like that, and then Zakk would sort of, bear all of that in mind, but kind of do his own thing, or do what Charlie Benante has done and try to nail everything as closely as possible. So it looks like they've gone for the second option, and like I said, I've listened to the clip again, and I think that's what's happening. So he's playing, and where I thought that squeal, that weird, I thought that was triggered from not triggered, but played from like an open harmonic over the third or fourth fret to get kind of a high pitch, and then use the whammy just to augment that sound. But it looks like it's actually just played straight off the chord, right? The dun 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 that stab, it's just that chord, and the whammy just takes that up to whatever setting they wanted to take it. It's a couple octaves or whatever it is. So I just wanted to come on and make that correction. Regardless, the outcome of the video is kind of the same as I originally posted. So my apologies for messing it up, for sloppy editing and all that. I'm under a lot of time pressure. I don't get a lot of chance to make videos, and I should have been more thorough. But it boils down to the same thing, that if an artist or a band or something like that, if they're just using the odd little thing on a backing track or a trigger or something like that, or a click track or whatever it is, just to make the show run a bit more easily. So say for example, like let's play devil's advocate, which is what I try to do in the original video, and entertain the possibility that it is a backing track. Why would they do that? Well, one thing could be for switching, right? So if you take Grady Champion out of the equation, or and you presume on using the pedal on stage by Zakk, right? Like actually using his feet. That's just more switches added to the stage, more tap dancing to do. Sometimes the switches can be unreliable. Sometimes if you're wearing a certain kind of boot, you'll miss the switch. The switches themselves can break down and go wrong. All kinds of manner of things can go wrong with that. So, you could have that on a sample and make the argument that it's one less thing to go wrong for the show. but maybe you'd back that up with, yeah, but and you can have the full rhythm guitar that like the what would be the double track from the album playing at the same time, and you know, would sound closer to the record that way. But that doesn't sound like what he's done. So like I said, went back, listened again, and there's no rhythm guitar underneath that squeal, right? So what, and then bearing in mind that Grady is on the tour with him and serving as a guitar tech, not just as a consultant or something like that. And even if it wasn't him, it could be another tech doing it, doesn't matter. The point is they're doing it the same way Dime did it, and it is being played live, and it's just been keyed off this chord. Like, I'd never studied the tabs or anything like that. I just kind of had a rough idea of how they could go about getting that sound. I never sat down and studied the song in depth in terms of playing it. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it at. That's my 2 cents on the matter. It doesn't change my total outlook on backing tracks, that if they're used sensibly and to a minimum, just, you know, to help the overall stage presentation, or as I said, if it's like some obscure part from the record that isn't worth like hiring an entirely extra musician for, then yeah, sure, I can, you know, can live with that. But replacing entire performances and entire riffs is a big no-no for me, and certainly auto-tune is a big no-no for me. But it doesn't sound like that's what he's doing, and I always thought that he was playing that rhythm part live anyway. I just thought, you know, clearly this guy in the audience thought he saw something that was amiss. And so yeah, I was trying to put myself in his shoes and think, well, what could it be, you know? But maybe I haven't, you know, I haven't seen his direct words. I haven't spoken to him, so, or her. I don't know if it's a he or she or whatever the case is. But it could just be that this person didn't see the pedal on the stage, you know, and because Zakk can walk around freely and play the riff, he's not tied to the pedal. Maybe that's how he came to the conclusion that, or you know, how he made the claim of there being a backing track used. Anyway, the point still stands. Backing tracks, they have their uses, but don't bullshit the audience, I guess is my point. Anyway, yeah, so look, I'm going to leave it at that. Apologies for messing it up yesterday. I'm reposting this video. I'm sorry I can't keep all the comments that were on the original video. I don't want to hide anything, but I just want the video to be as correct as possible. So if I could keep the comments, I would, but YouTube gives the video a completely different URL and everything. So there we go. It is what it is. You live and you learn. I messed it up, and yeah, there's consequences for that. Anyway, so I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and thanks for those who subscribed, and for those that left comments, and you know, we talked out the issues in the comments and that sort of thing. Thanks very much for that. I do appreciate the interaction, and I don't feel hard done by or anything like that. It's my own fault for being a bit sloppy and slapdash with the video. Right. Cheers, guys. Take care.